Join me as I dive deep into this chilling urban legend and see if I can uncover the truth behind it. The story of the vanishing hitchhiker is one of the most enduring urban legends in the world. It has been told and retold in countless variations, but the core elements remain the same. A lone driver picks up a hitchhiker on a dark, deserted road, only for the passenger to mysteriously disappear before reaching their destination. Some say it's a ghost, others a warning from beyond the grave. But what if there's more to this story than just folklore? What if it's based on something real? The first encounter. Our story begins in the small town of Willow Creek, nestled in the shadow of the Appalachian Mountains. It was a cold, rainy night in October when a young man named Tom was driving home from work. The roads were slick with rain, and the fog was so thick he could barely see a few feet ahead. As he rounded a sharp bend, his headlights caught the figure of a girl standing by the side of the road. She was drenched from the rain, her long hair plastered to her face, and she was wearing a thin white dress that clung to her shivering body. Tom slowed down, his heart pounding. He knew he shouldn't pick up strangers, especially on a night like this, but something about her made him stop. "Are you okay?" he asked, rolling down the window. The girl nodded, her teeth chattering. "I need a ride home. Please." Tom hesitated, but the look in her eyes, desperate, pleading, made up his mind. He unlocked the door and she climbed in, bringing with her the scent of damp earth and something else, something he couldn't quite place. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the rain. Tom asked her where she lived, and she gave him an address on the outskirts of town. As they drove, she sat silently, staring out the window. Tom tried to make conversation, but she only responded in monosyllables, her voice distant, as if her mind were somewhere else. When they reached the address, Tom pulled into the driveway of an old, crumbling house. The girl turned to him, her eyes wide and filled with gratitude. "Thank you," she said again. "You're very kind." Tom watched as she got out of the car and walked up to the front door. But before she could reach it, she vanished, just disappeared into thin air. Tom blinked, sure he was seeing things. He got out of the car and ran to the spot where she had been standing, but there was no trace of her. The house was dark and silent, its windows boarded up, as if no one had lived there for years. The legend spreads. Tom's story spread quickly through Willow Creek, and soon others came forward with similar tales. A truck driver claimed to have picked up a hitchhiker on the same stretch of road, only for her to vanish before they reached her destination. A woman reported seeing a girl in a white dress walking along the roadside, but when she stopped to offer help, the girl was gone. The legend of the vanishing hitchhiker became a local phenomenon, with people speculating about who she was and why she haunted that particular road. Some said she was the ghost of a young woman who had died in a car accident years ago. Others believed she was a warning, a spirit trying to prevent others from meeting the same fate. The historical connection. As the stories grew, a local historian named Margaret Hayes decided to investigate. She spent months poring over old newspapers and records, searching for any mention of a girl matching the hitchhiker's description. Finally, she found something. A newspaper article from 1957. The article told the story of a young woman named Emily Carter, who had gone missing one rainy October night. Emily had been last seen walking along the road where the hitchhiker was often spotted. Her body was never found, and the case remained unsolved. Margaret dug deeper and discovered that Emily had been on her way home from a dance when she disappeared. She had been wearing a white dress, just like the hitchhiker. Margaret also found records of other disappearances in the area, all of young women, all on rainy nights. The ritual, Margaret's research led her to an even darker discovery. She found references to an old Appalachian legend about a spirit known as the Rain Maiden. According to the legend, the Rain Maiden was the ghost of a young woman who had been betrayed and murdered by her lover. Her spirit was said to appear on rainy nights, seeking revenge on those who wronged her. But there was more. Margaret uncovered evidence of a ritual performed by locals in the early 20th century. They believed that by offering a sacrifice to the Rain Maiden on a rainy night, they could ensure a bountiful harvest. The sacrifices were always young women, dressed in white, and left on the side of the road. Margaret realized that the vanishing hitchhiker might not be a ghost at all, but a manifestation of the Rain Maiden's curse. The girls who disappeared were not victims of accidents or foul play. They were sacrifices, offered to appease an ancient, vengeful spirit. The final encounter. Margaret's findings sent shockwaves through Willow Creek, but the legend of the vanishing hitchhiker persisted. People continued to report sightings of the girl in the white dress, her presence as chilling as ever. One night, Margaret decided to confront the legend herself. She drove to the spot where the hitchhiker was most often seen and waited. The rain poured down and the fog rolled in, reducing visibility to almost nothing. Just as she was about to give up, she saw her, a figure in a white dress standing by the side of the road. Margaret pulled over and rolled down the window. "Emily," she called out. The girl turned, her face pale and sorrowful. "Help me," she whispered. Margaret's heart ached for the girl, but she knew what she had to do. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small, weathered book, the diary of Emily Carter, which she had found during her research. She began to read aloud, recounting Emily's life, her dreams, and her tragic death. As she read, the girl's form began to fade, her expression softening. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice barely audible over the sound of the rain. And then she was gone. The truth revealed. Margaret's encounter with the vanishing hitchhiker changed everything. She published her findings, revealing the dark history behind the legend. The people of Willow Creek were horrified to learn the truth, but they also felt a sense of closure. The sacrifices had stopped, and the Rain Maiden's curse was finally broken. But the legend of the vanishing hitchhiker lives on, a reminder of the past and the power of stories to reveal the truth. So the next time you're driving on a dark, rainy night and you see a figure by the side of the road, think twice before you stop. Because some legends are more than just stories. They're warnings from the other side.